Hello, welcome to a new episode of Rediscovered Movies. I'm your host, Namfano Malloy. So, the film that I'll be discussing is Prospect. Prospect is a 2018 sci fi western thriller that's written and directed by Christopher Caldwell and Zeke Earl, they're known for directing primarily short films, including Prospect. So, this film is based off the short film of the same name, which is available on YouTube. So, the film stars Sophie Thatcher, Jay Duplass, and Pedro Pascal. So, here is the plot. A teenage girl and her father travel to a remote alien moon aiming to strike it rich. They've secured a contract to harvest a large deposit of the elusive gems hidden in the depths of the moon's toxic forest. But there are others roving the wilderness, and the job quickly devolves into a fight to survive. Forced to contend not only with the forest's other ruthless inhabitants, but with her own father's greed-addled judgment, the girl finds she must carve her own path to escape. So the film was released in Regal Cinemas in November 2nd, 2018. It made over 22,000 during its theatrical run. So I just want to note there. So I wonder though, like, if the film was exclusive for Regal Cinemas, because I find that's kind of strange. Because I bet though, if this movie was released wider, it would have made more money than it did. But it is what it is. So in terms of reception, it on Rotten Tomatoes it has an 89% critic score. Here's what they have to say with the consensus. Fueled by character development and setting instead of special effects, Prospect is a sci-fi story whose style is defined and enriched by its limitations. The audience, however, gave it 71%. The film is available on demand, so check your local provider. All right, first discoveries. So, my brother first told me about this movie after he saw it in an episode of EP Daily, I believe. That's with Victor Lucas, where essentially it's all about video games, but they do talk about pop culture. So, after when he told me about it, like, I decided, like, I would look at the trailer, which piqued my interest. And it came on Netflix. It was in 2019. And I thoroughly enjoyed it because, like, it was something I felt was unique, like in the sci-fi realm. And I appreciated that this movie is low budget. And for a sci-fi film, that is amazing. And yeah, I also enjoyed, yeah, with the direction, the production value, also the performances too. So, and like rewatching it now, like this movie still holds up. Like, yes, it does have flaws, but it is thoroughly entertaining. Let's go on to highlights. So, the technical aspects that for me immediately like captured me with the film. So, for instance, you have like the cinematography, like it's so breathtaking. Like when we have the sequences in space, like at the beginning, and also to when they're in the forest, like on land for the majority of the film. Because when I first like saw it, I just wondered like it does look like a painting in a way in ways because it's enhanced, but I would probably guess it's like the filter that they use because I'm not sure what cameras they use. I'm gonna guess digital, and yeah, like it just looks incredible. Like it looks gorgeous. Like I would say, yeah, with the lighting too, paired with the cinematography is great. Like for instance, when C and Ezra they're at with the mercenaries towards later half of the film, like that's incredible because it looks like the fire and like the flares like from the guns is like the only source of lighting in that moment, and I'm just like, wow, that's incredible because night scenes are kind of like in general a little challenging to film because you have to make it look like nighttime while also to having enough lighting to see what's happening in frame. And I thought, yeah, like they did a good job on that part, and also pair it to like with the score. It does have like a what like a spaghetti like western sort of feel, like it's very intense. Like for instance, when C overhears her father Damon's conversation with Ezra, like we see her like creeping to as she's trying to rescue her father, and yeah, like that, like the score tells you that yeah, like something is about to happen, and then once when that happens, like the crescendo is is very on point. Like in ways it kind of like surprises me, but yeah, it's just incredible. The opening titles, like it felt like a Quentin Tarantino film, like with Pulp Fiction. I think because maybe like the choice of font, but also too like with the music cue. Yeah, like because I feel like yeah, like they want the filmmakers want to like put you like in the mood, like it's an adventure that we the audience has to follow. The performances from the cast are solid. So I want to highlight Sophie Thatcher as C because with a role like this, especially for a younger actor, it can go either way over the top or it could just be right on point. And I felt for me like she was right on point. Like I haven't seen her work prior to this movie, but yeah, like I just realized that she was in the Book of Boba Fett because she's kind of unrecognizable from that show. And it's amazing too that I guess Pedro Pascal is in The Mandalorian, and I guess it kind of comes full circle for those actors, so that's incredible. And yeah, speaking of Pedro Pascal, like it's a very different role compared to what I've seen him like in Narcos and other stuff. Because he has here like the southern accent in ways he kind of acts like flamboyant because like he's clearly like using like his I guess personality like every time when he interacts with people, like you think oh like he's fooling everyone, but he doesn't want people to believe that he's fooling them. And yeah, like just with his like delivery on that like is key because clearly like his character is like the villain because he does kill C's father, but it was an interesting choice that like he is I guess turned out to be like a good guy in a way, but at the same time you don't fully trust his like motivations because he could just easily like feed you to the wolves and just like run off like either like with the gem or like so forth. But yeah, like we'll get into that later. So also too, yeah, like let's go back to C. So C, she wants clearly she wants to be like a teenager, but because this is like a post-apocalyptic type environment, she does have to mature like for survival. Because we see like yeah, like at the beginning, like she's listening to her music when she's supposed to be like with her I guess father. She doesn't fully like pay attention like when Damon tries to I guess, dissect a gem when they're in the forest. And she has like this notebook that she has passages like from this book she likes called The Streamer Girl, I guess, which is her favorite book. So that is, yeah, interesting. So even though like she, has to like be an adult, like it's nice to see like those moments of like those quiet moments per se when she's not busy. The There was a scene in the movie like when C and Damon, when their ship is malfunctioning. It has like only like the sound effects from the ship, which kind of makes it intense because as an audience member, it makes you feel like you're a part of the ship. Like it feels like, like you're part of the scene. So that, yeah, was an interesting choice because I bet though like if this was a mainstream movie, you'll have like the score, probably the effects too, and also shots of like the ship crashing down. But clearly, because of like budget cuts, they had to make a lot of creative decisions. So yeah, every time when they're supposed to be like riding on the ship, you pretty much see like the close-ups of their face, like which works though because yeah, you don't have to like follow, I guess, like the same beats as other movies would do. Um, Also too, what I liked, I guess like Ezra, like with his partner, has no face. Because I wonder though, like if that was like a creative choice, like probably wants the partner to be more intimidating compared to Ezra. Or maybe like, because I'm assuming like it was an extra that played the role, and probably like they didn't, or either that person or whoever just didn't want to be shown on camera. But I would say like it's probably more of a creative choice, like to, I guess, to show the different personalities where like Ezra's more like inviting, while like the partner's more like the muscle, like more intimidating. The villagers that Ezra and C come across, they're very creepy. Yeah, like cuz when the leader like offers gems in exchange like for C, like I'm glad that Ezra didn't like go through with it. Well, because like C, she ran away. And like a part of me wonders though, like, was Ezra actually going to go through it? Because again, we don't fully know like his motives until the later half of the movie. And yeah, like like I was just, yeah, glad that, you know, they didn't stay there much longer. I love it too, like the action sequences, they have like a purpose than simply being like entertainment. So they're not like very long. I would probably say like the final sequences with the mercs is probably like the longest, but yeah, like clearly, yeah, like you see like there's a reason why those are happening because they're all trying to like fight for survival, or they're trying to fight for obtaining this gem which will make them lots of money. So also too, like the way they're shot, like I'm just glad like there's not a lot of quick cuts. And also too, it was nice like for the short run time, like it's an hour 40 minutes, so I'm just glad that it just sticks to the point. You get in, get out. Because I bet though, like if someone else made this movie, it will definitely be 2+ hours long. It'll probably be like more action scenes for the sake of action scenes, and like probably character development is out the window. So I just want to mention quickly before I go into lowlights the short film. So The short film is available on YouTube to watch. It's of the same name. And I would say, yeah, like with the short film, like it focuses more on the father daughter dynamics than with the movie. But I would say it's nice. So like the movie, it kind of like expands that than just having focusing on the father daughter thing, because clearly like the directors are very good with the world building, I guess, aspects of the film. And also to, yeah, like both the short film and the feature like are very like suspenseful, because clearly like with the short film like it's kind of left on a cliffhanger, while like with the feature like I would say it has a more like resolved ending. But please, yeah, check out like the short film. And yeah, like if you guys seen both, like just let me know on social media what you guys think, like which one is better, or are they both on par. But I would say, yeah, like the directors did a good job on expanding the world of the short film. So with Flow Lights, I felt like with C, she is a bit naive, because even though like I said, like she wants to be a teenager, like I don't blame her for that. But it's very clear that she depends on others, particularly with Damon and Ezra, for survival. Because I bet though, like, if this was made differently, like, C would be more, I guess, of a Mary Sue character, where, like, she's able to do things on her own, that sort of deal. But in a way, like, I would say, like, it's nice here that she has, like, vulnerabilities, again, because she's young. But I felt, yeah, like there could have been a balance between her depending on others and when she could do things on her own. Like, don't get me wrong, she does manages on her own at times. Like when she tries to defend herself against like Ezra for a moment, but yeah, like that could have been, I guess, a bit better. And it was also weird that after when Ezra kills Damon, she decides to offer Ezra like a deal, which I find strange, because I bet though, like if someone killed your father or your loved one, you obviously want to revenge them, because that's what they did in the short film. But here, I guess because it's a feature, they wanted to have that character more than just a villain, which is understandable. But yeah, like I felt some sort of way like when they decide to like team up. Also too, like I didn't really get the whole idea of a prospector. Cause I just wanted to like with a prospector, is it someone that like collects things like a bounty hunter? Cause I think Ezra mentions that he is a prospector. So that one I wasn't sure, unless if I missed it. In terms of the whole Queen's Lair subplot, I didn't fully like understand it, because I get that, I guess like there's these gems like inside that white gooey thing that they had to dissect properly, which is very valuable. And that with that, like if you do it wrong, then it gets destroyed by the acid. But I think like just parts of that for me just did not make sense. And another two thing, like with the character development, I think like it's a bit stronger in the short film than with the feature, because we don't know much about Damon. I guess apart that yeah, he's a single dad, and I guess he knows how to do things, I guess scientifically, I guess with the gem. But yeah, we don't really know much about his motives. And yeah. Um because I wondered though, like with the story that Damon mentions to Ezra about the mercenaries, because I just wondered like was that true or was it fiction? Because when I watched it the first time, I imagined like, oh, like it was just fiction just to, get to as a distraction like for C to overtake Ezra. But then later on in the film they mentioned that oh that he did had a job with the mercenaries that they meet. So or like I just wonder because we see like the mercenaries they talk amongst each other while they're playing like the music. So just wondering like were they like going along with it so that as soon as they dissect those things they could just overtake them and then keep it for themselves. For me, like that part of the film was just unclear. And also too, I wondered like with the guy that they stumble upon in that box, like is he there like as a trophy? Or maybe like as like intimidation to warn people like, hey, like if you try to double cross us, like we're gonna put you in the box again. I wasn't sure unless if I missed our part. So let's go on to trivia. So the film premiered at the South by Southwest Festival in March 2018, where it won the Adam Yauch Hornblower Award, if I pronounced that right. The particles of the poisonous dust that flutter across the moon forest are practical effects, not CGI. Basement dust was thrown into the air, filmed, and overlaid into the finished movie, which is impressive. Because, like, I was surprised, yeah, to know that this is a low budget movie and that they use a lot of, I guess, creative ways to make it work. And yeah, I'm just like very glad with that because it shows that yeah, like you don't need CGI or the fancy stuff to make your film, I guess, believable. So I loved yeah, like the on hands approach that the filmmakers decided to do. So also too, most of the dialogue was taken from the actual helmets while the actors are speaking, and very little was done in terms of ADR. So yeah, that's impressive. And also to a note, the script is what drew Pedro Pascal to the film. He liked the eloquent and respectable dialogue for his character. They decided later to tone down how Shakespearean it was. So yeah, like it definitely was, I would say, for me, one of my favorite Pedro Pascal performances. And I just wonder, like, with this role, like, did that kind of like help him get cast in The Mandalorian? I mean, maybe. But but yeah, like he certainly did a good job with this movie. So lastly, like I leave with this question, should this movie be rediscovered? And I say absolutely yes, because on a technical standpoint, it's very, I would say, epic for a low budget sci-fi movie. I loved, yeah, like the world building aspects of it. And I would say too, like the performances from the cast, particularly with Pedro Pascal and Sophie Thatcher, is solid. So that pretty much concludes this episode of the podcast. So you can follow myself on Twitter and Instagram at Namfi Malloy. You can follow the podcast on Twitter and Instagram at RDMoviesPod, and you can use the hashtag RDMoviesPod. You could answer the featured question on Spotify. You could like, share, and subscribe to the podcast on your preferred platform. And you could submit questions, comments, and suggestions by email, which is rediscoveredmovies@gmail.com, or you could leave a short voice message on anchor.fm/rdmoviespod. I want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode of the podcast. Until next time.